Hi, folks, and I'm not in California. I'm in sunny Virginia Beach, and it's 80 degrees outside, so we've got some great weather working. OMS, and I'll give you a little bit of a backstory to start off with, was actually sold in 2014. DUI and another company, BTS Europa AG, acquired it. And the whole original idea when they brought it in was to launch the line exactly the way everybody saw it. Everybody was used to it. They hadn't sent any product out for a couple of years, so they went with the standby, the IQ pack. They brought the air cells back the way everybody used to seeing it, and pretty much got it started at that point. And it was recognized, okay, we really can't stay on that venue because some of that technology was close to 30 years old. And we started to build and grow from there in order to improve it. And it is a completely modular system. Our concept is pretty much to, what do you want to do? Chances are we have a solution. And you can build on the line from there depending on the type diving that you're doing. We don't look at sport diving or open water and technical diving. Everything is now combined. Who doesn't sell a back inflation BC? It's become standard out in the market. So let's take a look at something that'll start off a little easier. And if you have questions, just type them in and we'll get to them. We don't have to wait till the end. The original concept was actually called the IQ Pack. This is the newest version. It's called the IQ Lite. It has the changes on it. The pad in the back does not absorb water compared to the old one. You still have the ability, for a lot of people, this is important, by opening up the Velcro, you can actually take and insert a plate into the inside. And this allows you now to work with a single tank adapter, or you can even work with a set of doubles on it. The air cells we'll get into a few moments. So now you have the choice between a soft pack and a stiff pack. The big thing, the reason for the name, the IQ Lite, we hear gear dropping almost continuously in this presentation. The whole idea on this is you have something lightweight. This weighs approximately 2 pounds. You could fold it to get into the travel bag, and it does come size. We have it anywhere from, we have extra small, small, medium/large, which is the most popular selling size, and extra large. The way you put these on is a little bit different. This is a harness design, and they're cut rather large. To give you an idea, I weigh 200 pounds. This is a medium-large rig. And you wear something like this, the waist on these units are designed to fit on your waist, not around your hips. So the belt should be sitting right here. This gives you room for weight pockets, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable. And then you'll snug down on the sides, and now you have full range of motion while you're diving with it. Very important for photographers. You can get your arms out straight. The whole unit's not going to ride up. You'll notice that it sits all the way up on the nape of my neck, and you can put different size air cells on it, different size people. The easiest way to try to decide on, okay, what size am I going to wear? Pretty much comes down to your t-shirt size. I weigh 200 pounds. I stand 5 feet 10 inches tall. Medium large fits me well if I was just diving down in the islands, and extra large would work better if I was diving with my dry suit. One of the other features on the side, there is a tri-glide. You can slide it forward, slide it back in order to make it as most comfortable as possible for the individual diver. Now, this concept, oh, and by the way, they all come with a crotch strap. And one of the biggest questions I get, particularly from newer divers, is how tight should the crotch strap be? Here's the definition. It should introduce itself to the neighborhood, but not divide the neighborhood. And that's as far as I'm going from there. So as we evolved with the product line, needing to make changes, recognizing how divers change the way they dive and things that they do, okay, where are we going from here? Well, people like to add trim pockets. And the place for a trim pocket is generally on the strap, on the side, or in the back, and you can move them up and down. The problem is you'll run out of space on the cam strap. So we took this to the next step, And let me not drop my Mac computer here. There we go. We took the next step and we actually added to the back of the IQ pack trim pockets. So that now you can add the weight. You can't leave them accidentally at home. One of the big advantages when we set it up this way, we found for people when they move from one tank to the other, the cam straps didn't drop because they wound up at 2 or 4 pounds of weight. Now the new ones only hold 2 pounds of weight compared to the old style that could hold almost 5 pounds of weight. The drawback on that, when you're putting 5 pounds of weight, we have people putting 20 pounds plus a stainless steel plate. That's 26 pounds of weight that was not ditchable. And that winds up being a safety problem. So the new pockets hold 2 pounds of weight. The trim pockets on the back of the IQ Lite hold 2 pounds of weight. Now it comes standard with a regular 2-inch crotch strap, but this is like the when you hear now there's more. Well, here's more. You can get them with a cummerbund, which also has a Fastex clip over the top. So now at this point, you have sized a unit to fit to your body shape. When you inflate a back inflation BC, it doesn't get any stiffer. It doesn't, as a stabilizing jacket, you blow it up, it gets stiff around the body. Harness units do not get stiff around the body because the air cell inflates away. Now, we'll have people, and there's some folks I'm sure in this call, well, that's not for me. That's not what I want. I want a plate only. Okay, fine. That still exists. Now, the original concept was just one piece of webbing. It's called the Hogarthian style with a 2-inch crotch strap, and that works, and that's fine. If you want to dive the way we were diving back in the 70s, we can set you up right there. But people like being comfortable. They like adjustability. So we went to another feature to help you out. You'll notice how low the plate is on my body. We have a cinch system that you can pull on the plate, pull on the shoulder, the waist strap. It tightens the shoulder straps in. Now you can get to the plate to where you want it set. You can actually add tri-glides to it, so it has a preset for yourself. And add a second tri-glide, like you see here, it'll only go back so far. Now, along the side, you'll notice there's a buckle over here. That buckle is designed so that you can actually put a canister light there. You don't dive one, it comes in the kit where you can add an extra D-ring on the opposite side. The change on this, instead of just slapping it on there, you'll notice that when I pull on the strap, the D-ring, the buckle doesn't move. So you can get in and out without having to worry about your gear shifting, particularly when you have a pressure gauge clipped off. You can get in and out. It's not going to slide out of position, and you can get yourself out of the unit. We do have extra padding that you can add to here. So it's pretty much, think like a Barbie doll. We have, or a G.I. Joe. We have so many options that you can add to this, depending on what your diving style is. And you can get it with a stainless steel or aluminum plate. Now, we don't want to limit what you're doing. So what we added, some folks like the back pad. We actually have a back pad that'll go over the plate. And this has the trim pockets also built into it. There's 4 of them. So that now you can actually add, get a little light on the subject here. You can add your trim pockets right over the plate. And once again, it is a pad that doesn't absorb any water, dries very, very quickly. Very important for the traveling diver. The pad doesn't absorb water. That way it ditches right out. It dries really quickly so you can get on the plane as quickly as possible, because water is weight. And that's one of the problems that we deal with, particularly for traveling. We want the gear to dry very, very quickly. So that's why we put it in the IQ Lite and on that new harness, on the new pad on the system. Now, the next step up from there. The next step up from there, some folks want something really resilient, really strong. Stainless steel attracts a lot of attention. We use what's called Cobra buckles. The Cobra buckle is a quick release buckle. These are designed for saltwater immersion. It is more modular than the IQ Lite would be. You could take all these rings off, add more rings, take the epaulets off. But one big advantage on these over an IQ Lite is the ability to actually, let me undo this strap so you can see it easily. You can change the size. So it's one size fits all. You want to cinch it up tighter for warmer water diving, let it out looser because you're diving in colder water with your dry suit. Very easy to do. You simply undo the strap on the shoulder. And then if I want to make it larger, just pull it out and put the strap back through the tri-glide. And you've now set the sizing. You just match it on the opposite side. The D-rings that are on here, by the way, aren't plastic, even though it looks like it on the camera. These are actually aluminum, anodized aluminum, and they are welded. So it's a good solid lifting ring, and we do have them in stainless steel. The pricing is exactly the same. You get to pick which ones you want to work with. And for those of you who already own a plate, you can add a Comfort Harness 3 onto any plate. We'll supply you with a PDF on how to put it together. It doesn't take that long. The same thing with the SmartStream harness. We sell them in kits so you can actually build your own kit out of pre-existing product that you already have. Any questions, type them in now. And we get Jack to do the talking. If not, I'm going to start on air cells. We'll move through there. No?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So let's talk about air cells. Well, this design, the simple donut design, we have them in 27 pounds of lift, 32 pounds of lift. These wings, these sizes for all manufacturers, the most popular selling size wing that's out on the market at this point. Pretty much on the fact it was designed for the traveling diver. But we wanted to go up a next step up from there. And with that, we actually put into the back, think in terms of an STA, a single tank adapter, an anti-roll bar, that will now allow the cylinder to sit in between. On these smaller size wings, we're thinking the width of an aluminum 80, 7.25 inches. We'll talk about the thicker ones later on with different size air cells. We do have the rapid exhaust located on top. Now, the way the construction is done, if you've been around for a while, you remember anytime you had a problem with any kind of a fitting, taking it off, you usually needed tools. Putting it back on, you needed a set of specified tools. Well, we've made a change on that. Now, the inner bag has the parts. These are ultrasonically welded into place, so it'll slide in. And then it's a larger size. Let's see if you can spot this. The grooves are actually larger, so it's not gonna be easy to cross thread. And of course, you know at this point, now that I have an audience, it's gonna take forever to put this together. Oh, not so bad. I actually have my act together today. That's it to lock it in. Now, I'll give you a piece of advice. If you ever take off this threading here, this threading on the oral inflator is exactly the same. But if you take it apart to clean it, after you take it apart and screw it all back together again, and the top section here is actually keyed, so it'll lock into position, you should inflate it and leave it inflated 4 to 5 hours. Our QC, before we ship them to you, is we inflate them and leave them inflated for 12 hours overnight. So that way we can check how well these are holding before they go to the customer. Another thing that's done, the interior of the bag, that shiny surface over here is a TPU coating. It's a polyurethane coating. We don't spray it on. We actually send the whole bolt of material out, and they wind up taking it, and it is a different process, which escapes me at the moment. Got a hand here, Jack. I'm trying to think of the. It'll come to me. It'll pop in. Don't worry about it. Okay. So it's sealed coating, so it's not going to pot out. It's just not sprayed on. Laminated. So it's laminated directly onto the material. So it winds up being a little bit more consistent, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why these air cells tend to hold their color longer in the market. But anything you can lay out in the sun Anything that's going to be in salt water and the sun's the worst thing. It leaches out the dye that's in the interior at this point. Now, if you want to extend the life of anything in the way of dive gear, it's really simple. You go into a swimming pool, you should hose down your equipment before you get in. Because if you put it in dry, all of this has texture. All that chlorine's going to sit inside the texture. I tell this to public safety divers, pre-wet your gear. That way you actually fill in those little gaps in between. And then when you make the dive and you come out, you hose it off again, and it tends to stay cleaner at that point. You don't have to take a garden hose. You just do it with a Hudson sprayer. Even just putting using a water bottle on top before it gets in, pre-wet your gear, and the color will remain longer. It's everything here basically is dyed at this point. So even the black comes out, and I'm sure you've seen them in brown from some instructors. It's basically the chlorine has leached the color out of it. Now, 27 pounds of lift, 32 pounds of lift. The big difference between the two, this is a wider cut wing. This is a slightly longer wing. And most people who are diving in colder water tend to go with the 32 pounds of lift as opposed to a 27 pound. It also comes to your height. I found that when some of the people I dive with that are shorter tend to prefer a wing. If you're under 5'6", you prefer a 32 because the length of this, you'll wind up sitting partially on the wing because the bottom is actually slightly longer and it'll fold on the boat deck. And if it folds the wrong day, you're sitting right on top of it. So a 32 might work out. It also helps if you have the harness in the right position. When you put it on, you find a little bit more comfortable. And once again, bing on the ring. Now, the old standby, the deep ocean wing. The nickname that started in New York was the OMS Bondage Wing. The bungees were on the outside. Product for every manufacturer, no matter whether it's rubber baby buggy bumpers or it's a deep ocean wing, it reaches what's called end of life. End of life either because the consumer doesn't want it anymore or it's too expensive to make them anymore and the public won't want it. The original design on this wing, the whole idea, there's a dump valve on the top, there is a dump valve on the lower left, and you have your oral inflator. You'll notice the top is nice and clean. It makes for clean hose routing for sets of doubles, works really well. I use it when I was diving my rebreather. And originally everybody was screaming about the fact, entanglement hazard, blah, 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 all this other stuff. Okay, fine. They were selling this wing for almost 30 years and everybody seems to be happy. And by the way, the wing that NASA for the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, what they purchase is this one right here. This has the TPU coating on the inside and outside. It's designed for contaminated water. That's one of the world's heaviest chlorinated pools that we have. And it keeps the color because if you go on the website for the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, you'll see a lot of OMS gear and they like looking clean. But one of my questions to the guy was, why the bungees? Why do you guys love the bungees so much? And I got the most eloquent answer I've ever heard from a diver ever. Have you ever carried a crowbar underwater for 8 hours straight? They would slide their tools into the bungees in order to carry them. And when they need it, they would just reach back, pull it out, use it, and then their buddies would put it back in for them. So we talked end of life. In the US, we're no longer carrying these wings. Whatever available is available. We still have some in stock, but pretty much the 60s are gone because I've sold them all. So we needed to make a change. And when you make changes in a line, you make changes that will make sense to the company and to the consumer. The reason why we have so many harnesses that are multi-sized is to help consumers take a look and buy one thing that's going to do a lot of sizing for them. They don't have to go out and buy it again. For the retailer, it's having one in stock and it can fit anybody that happens to walk in through the door. Going along with that, The deep ocean wing was called a hybrid wing, designed to work with singles, and it can work with doubles. Problem is it can't work with all doubles. Once you start getting into larger size cylinders, 60 pounds of lift, that worked okay, but it needed to be a little bit wider to work on it. So this is what the company did. This is what's called, because we're really good at naming things, by the way. This is the Deep Ocean 2.0. So we made a few changes. First of all, the other wing, this is what's called the horseshoe by the obvious shape. The next one, this one here, is called the donut. And the advantage of the donut wing is the gas travels around the wing easier. Any position you're in, the gas will move from one area to another quickly and easier at that point. We also try to answer all the questions that consumers come up with, and you're probably going to start laughing at this one. The grommets scratch my tank. Okay, I get that. So what we did now, on all the 2020 shipped wings, there is actually a Velcro piece that covers the grommets on all the wings. So now we're not going to scratch up your scuba tank. You're wearing singles, the cam straps are going to come out through here, wrap around, you're not going to scratch the tank. You want to go to a set of doubles, this just peels off completely. Now you have the access to the two grommet holes for single tank adapter, or if you're working with a set of doubles. Also on the wing, like the 2.0, these are actually pushed further apart, the little anti-roll bars here, so that a larger size cylinder, 8 inches in diameter, will actually fit in between comfortably. Remember I mentioned the position of these two fittings here. We move them up to the top. So now it's easier to get the gas out of the wing, and it's still fold. It puts this wing, the oil inflator over your shoulder, which was difficult to do with the original the 2.0. People were always asking, they want to run this string, this dump valve string, down over their shoulder. They kept asking us for a rebuild kit so they can change it on the deep ocean. Well, the new one comes with one that's as long as you want it, and if you'll have to cut it down to your size. So that way, you want it shorter, you can cut it and make it shorter. So we tried to answer the question right in the beginning. Now the next thing, dump valves. There is one on the right, one on the left. The one that got the description around it is the left-hand side. The reason for the right-hand side, all our product is CE approved. Now, once you build it to CE approval, you can't change it. A lot of OMS product is still sold in Europe. We have a very big market there. And the reason for this extra dump valve on the side, some companies, the Norwegian Fire Brigade has 500 members. One of their parameters is the fact that they must have a separate, totally redundant system to inflate the wing. They would unscrew this. They actually have a 3 cubic foot cylinder with a regulator built into it that screws into this attachment here. So they only have one dump valve. They don't worry about losing, if they lost air for whatever reason, they can still inflate their wing and float on the surface. So that's why the wing is built and set in this position. Now you'll notice you don't see any bungees. The way this is set, this is actually set to 48 pounds of lift. So we took the bungees, and we put them on the inside. So when they're shipped, the default sizing is 48 pounds. All you have to do is undo the knot on the top, stretch the bungees out, and now you have a 60-pound lift wing. You want it back to 45, just rethread the bungees, one set on each side, and now you could bring it down to 45 pounds of lift again. Our wings only come in 9 colors now. Even pink, even black. And the best thing at DEMA is when people walk in and go, I love the orange. I'll take 4 in black, thank you. So, But photographers like to color. Some people like to match. I actually have a blue one that happens to match my dry suit. So I'm getting a little vain, but that's okay. I like to get my picture taken. I don't know if I was blending into the background with black on black on black. So we do have those options there when you're working on the wing. Now, other little features, little trinkets. Give you a little tip. Normally you'll see a single tank adapter and the pad's off on the side. Now you're trying to add trim pockets on both sides because that's the way you prefer to dive. Or if you're a public safety diver and you want to add a communications pod onto here. If you route the cam strap through this way, where the pad is actually on top of the single tank adapter, you now wind up getting an extra 7 inches of space to work with on here. So, and when you do it this way, it won't scratch your scuba tank. We have any questions, Jack? Is everybody happy?
Yes, I have a question about the ditchable weights on the systems.
Say again?
Ditchable weights on the harness systems.
Okay. We have a few different ways we can do this. 6 pounds of weight, ditchable weight on either side. We actually have one weight pocket that has a utility pocket built in. You can add a ring on either side, so that's 12 pounds of weight. We do have one that'll do 15 pounds of weight on either side, and all these pockets designed just to pull, and it ditches. And the newest thing at DUI this is the new Weight and Trim 3. The Weight and Trim 3 is a real simple system. You can wear it with a harness or you can buy them separately. It'll fit on 2-inch webbing. That's it, and it detaches. And there's a docking station built right into the harness, or you attach it to your own BC. You simply line it up and slide, if you're not too spastic, you slide the clip in, and now it's together. The big advantage of this over the original weight and trim system, they both dive the same, but if you're doing a boat dive and you want to take your weights off, that's one thing my wife used to do. I used to put a 2-inch ring on the side of her hip, and she would basically tie off a clip that was hanging off the side of the boat, ditch your weight belt. Now she'd walk up the ladder, she didn't have to be wearing her weight belt. You could take these off, clip off the same way, and then pull them up on the boat, or you can take them off and hand them to somebody. And if you drop them, the whole idea, this will be, the weight's going to go into the sand or the mud, but this will stay on top, hopefully, when it drops, and you'll be able to see it easily. So it's a quick, easy find on the system. Now, these will hold. Basically, it's 20 pounds on each side. You can pack them in, so 40 pounds of lift. We also have them $10 pounds, and it uses the same docking station, so you can switch them back and forth depending on the type diving that you're doing. So you can split some of the weight up. If you like diving with 20 pounds, you can put some of it on your back, some of it ditch your weight, but you got to remember, you have to have enough ditchable weight that'll keep you up on the surface. If you ditch your weight and the non-ditchable keeps you on the bottom or makes it difficult to swim to the surface, you've got to change your way of thinking a little bit on your diving. And by the way, if you're having trouble with your trim, ideally we want to be like this in the water. We don't want to be like this. We don't want to be standing on our heads. We want to be as reasonably close to this as possible by shifting the weight, which is the main weight is always here on your hip. With the trim pockets, you move them up higher to your shoulders, and it'll help flatten you out into the water, which, by the way, when you see all those pictures of divers with their arms out in front like this, we just like looking cool, but the real reason for that is the fact that when your arms are out like this, it acts as a counterweight. It puts more muscle mass and helps balance your body out. Did that answer the weighting question?
Yes. Also, can you put ditchable weights on the Slipstream system?
Yes, you can put ditchable weights on any system because it all works in through the 2-inch webbing. So everything that I just described fits on the Slipstream system. You wouldn't put it here on the webbing. You would actually add it to this section back here. So it needs to, you don't want to put it on here because when you pull on the strap, it's going to slide. When you put it over here, it's not going to move. And we have a manual that actually gives you a drawing on how to put that together again, which we can email to you anytime you request it. It's also, Jack, I believe you also have it on the website, on the manuals?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So then you don't even have to talk to us if you don't want to.
As we're going, I am, just so everyone knows, I am putting links in the chat menu for the products that Pete is talking about.
Okay. So we moved through the harnesses, we've moved through the wings at this point. Let's take a look at another, since you're here, we do have a special running right now. Air cell, 32 pounds or 27 pounds with the IQCB, that stands for the cummerbund, with the cam bands on the back, normally retails for over $700. It's on sale for $450 while supplies last. And before you even ask, no, it doesn't have the trim pockets built in. It's last year's model, but we've got a great price on them. They're first quality. It's just that we ordered too many because apparently nobody knows how to count anymore. Now, the next item that we'll be talking about, providing I can get this back together again. I've done this more than once today. The next item that we'll be talking about, we do have our regulator, the OMS regulator. First stage is called the Evoke, the Airstream. Second stage is called the Evoke. It's the hose routing. That's what makes it unique. It comes down, slightly forward. I need to get a bigger office. You can see it's tight and low. Let me just get rid of this, Jack. There we go. So it keeps your hose routing down and low as tight as possible. The second stage has a few features if you listen carefully, and this happens to everybody. Regulator starts to free flow. The first thing they do, they go to this knob when it's in their mouth, and they start cranking down on it really hard. And then it comes back to the dive shop, and they're like, it's jammed, it won't open. If you listen carefully, you can hear that little clicking. There's actually a clutch built into it to keep you from jamming the seat down. It's got the standard dive, pre-dive switch, and what we did, because this will happen on occasion, you wind up getting grit underneath, you're breathing water. There's a little trap door on the bottom that pops open. Now you can access this section here in order to clean it, then lock it down and continue your dive. And you set it for your own breathing at this point. What's new for this year on the regulators remain the same on the Evoke and on the Airstream. What we did is we put a PVD coating on here. A PVD coating is an industrial coating. It's actually used for gunmetal finishes. It's a brass body, chrome plated, and then the PVD coating is put on top of that. So when you rub it, it's not going to rub off at this point. It's scratch resistant. We also set a new regulator. This is called the Compact C, which is designed to basically give you something on a lower price range. The advantage on all these regulators, all the first stages are a unbalanced diaphragm design. So they'll deliver good airflow at any depth. And for any dealers that are on here, one parts kit covers all the regulators. So once you know how to fix one, you actually know how to fix them all because the torque settings are exactly the same. we are overstocked on these. And the special until they're gone, first and second stage, no hose, retails for $245. And you can get that through any one of our dealers. Minimum quantity is one. Now, moving forward from there, on some of the more fun stuff that we're dealing with. On the reels that we worked in. On the reels, and this is my personal reel, that's why it's got to die so I can always find it, because I'm always lending my gear to somebody. We didn't go with the lockdown, with the screw locks down on it, because I'm always losing mine. It's a quick turn, quarter turn. Now the reel comes off. You want to lock it, just turn it once again, and the reel stays locked in position. Now, we also made a real tight groove area over here so that you don't wind up getting the line caught in behind, but like anything else, if there's an opening, you can get sand in there. Now the problem is how do I clean it? Very simple. Unlock it, push down again, it's double action. This comes off, and now you can take the entire reel apart, clean it, put it back together, lock it down. To control the reel, your fingers are the drag. You put your hand up on the inside here for the drag, and if you happen to be right or left-handed, you can switch the reel. Now the drag's on the opposite side. We were thinking of the fact the size of the hand, ladies' hand being smaller, some of the guys wearing thick dry gloves. This is a soft strap, which is adjustable, so you can lock it in. You do have the attachment point on here, so you can clip it off on your body. Now, a little thing about attachment points, when you do this, you have to have it set up like this, because if you set it up in the wrong position, facing the wrong way, it'll actually pop off when you bang it. What happens is the gate slides and pops off. You put it in the opposite position, now the gate can't lock off, so it'll keep you from losing the reel. So that solves that problem. That happens to be 250 feet. We also have it with 400 feet if you really want to go all over the wreck. And then, of course, finger spools. Our most popular selling color is in pink. 75-foot length. One of the changes that we did on the OMS spool is you'll notice that there is a slight indent. It doesn't go all the way through, so it actually acts like a drag. You can squeeze it with your fingers in order to control the line coming out of it. We have, yes, and we do have them in black too, so that's not a problem in the 75-foot. And we have them in 100 and 150-foot lengths. So, and by the way, where finger spools came from, and we only sell them made out of plastic. It's actually a nylon infused plastic, so they do last. The whole idea behind this product, by the way, these are considered by most divers as expendable. So if you were running a line through a cave and you wanted to do a jump, you had a situation or a problem, you would just leave it there and not worry about it. The other difference is too, I actually do this in some of my classes. With the 100-foot spool, you can actually shoot an SMB, and if you packed it right, let it go, it'll actually unfold right in front of you. That's just to get the point across to the student about properly packing the reel. The other note too, you can see the line coming out. You'll be able to see if it's knotted or not. Now, I don't care who makes it. When you get these spools, before you get them wet, you should unzip, take all the line off, and repack it. These are packed by a machine. Sometimes something as simple as a hand drill. It puts too much tension on the line, and when it gets wet, they swell. That goes for even our reels. They swell and makes it very difficult to get the line undone. Also, if you're doing a really cold dive, it's going to swell. In some cases, I always carry a spool. Even on an ice dive, I carry a spool. It's going to freeze, it's going to swell, and it's going to crack the spool. So unpack it first, then repack it by hand. And usually you'll find in most cases from manufacturers, when you do it by hand, there'll actually be a little bit too much line at that point. So if it says 75, you might wind up with 125 in there because it's packed by a machine. You can measure it off, tighten it up, and that way you'll have a spool that's not going to fall apart on you at that point. Other toys that we have. Notebooks. Notebooks, writing paper, and if you want to hear the funniest story about pens and pencils, actually came from NASA. You've probably heard this one before, but they turned around and said, we invented a pen that will work in outer space and write in any position, and it only cost us $75,000 to produce it. And the Russians came back and said, yeah, we use a pencil. So pencils will work underwater. Actually, ballpoint pens will work underwater, but pencil works the best. These are removable so that you can redo them. You want to clean them with soft scrub. With some of the public safety teams that I work with, they actually will take these out, put duct tape on the outside, put the date and the case number that they were working on, and now they have the original documentation that the diver used. They don't rewrite it at that point. And the other question I get on occasion, what's this for? So now you can hang on to the anchor line, or if you have to drop it, it's not going to disappear on you. So we actually put the spool in there. For those of you that are doing CCR diving, doing deeper diving, and you want to set up contingencies, you could actually have an extra pocket on the outside, so you can put your contingencies here. You don't have to open it up, and everything is right in that position. Your first contingency is right here. Cutting tools. These are one of the sharpest blades that we carry. It has a line cutter. We also come with the blunt tip. Unclip it. And now it's a scissor, which has become popular with public safety divers. I always carry one myself. I actually carry 3 cutting tools. I will carry one of these, which I keep on my waist. And then in my pocket, I actually have a set of shears. And on my computer, on my wrist, I like to have a small cutting tool that can access very quickly to cut line. The new one that we do have is made out of, the blade is actually ceramic, so it's not going to rust at this point. The sheath is very unique for us. If you were normally working with this and you wanted to put it through the webbing like I do on my wrist, leave it the way it is. If you want to put it up on your shoulder somewhere, you can actually open this up, wrap it around, lock it down, and there's an extra set of Velcro hook is located right on here. By the way, if you're having a problem with your system set up where the Velcro doesn't seem to be holding, the Velcro is not wearing out. What happens is this gets dirty, the hook section. Just take a stiff toothbrush and clean it, both sides. Do a couple of rubs on the hooks, and that locks it down. Usually that's all it takes to clean. That'll work on your epaulets or anything else that you're diving with at that point. We have safety kits for the traveling diver, which includes, depending on the size, we have this is a 1 meter or 3.5 foot roughly SMB at this point. You get them yellow, orange, and pink. And I found that the pink actually shows up better on the surface than either the yellow or the orange. We have one that's called a hybrid. It has a piece of lead, one on each side, so that when you want to inflate it, you can basically just stick your fingers in, pop it open. It'll stay in the open position so that you can get the second stage of the regulator in there. And there is a one-way valve in here. So once it hits the surface, it doesn't dump. If you want to, you could orally inflate it, put it in your mouth, push down on it, or you can use what's called a no-lock inflator. with the no-lock inflator, you take a low-pressure hose, pull the collar back, push on it, and you push. At this point, it starts to inflate. It doesn't lock on like it does on your BC. It'll just simply pop off. You have to pull the collar back, push down on it, and then when you want to let it go, it just comes off. That's the reason why all of ours have an overpressure valve built into it. So when it hits the surface, it's not going to blow the seam out and come rolling back down to you. You've got a small overpressure valve to lock it in. And I'm sure, and we actually have them on the larger size one, in the 5-foot size one, there is a small clear sleeve on the side. And everybody's going, yeah, that's where you shove a Siloom stick in. Yeah, that works, but if you put a $5 bill in there, the boat picks you up first. All right, that's the overview on what we have on the OMS line. Unless there's some specific questions that you need, I'd be happy to answer them for you. I'm in no rush. Jack wants me to be done by 2 o'clock, but I really don't care. So I'm on the clock.
Okay, waiting for some additional questions from some people. What are the colors that the wings come in?
The wings, okay, now you're gonna have to make me really think here. Well, obviously they do come in black. They come in pink. They come in yellow. They come in Miami blue, which is a shinier blue, sort of like my shirt. We have navy blue, which I showed you here. What's new for this year, we have them in orange. This is Miami blue. We have them in green. We have them red with the black trim. And we have them in gray. And at 200 feet at night, they're all the same color.
So the question also is about the OMS Slipstream fins, because we do have in 2020 some new colors. Some people may be interested in that.
Well, I don't have those colors with me. There's a limit. The Slipstream Fin, it's all monoprene. It's the only injection moldable rubber that's out there. The shape of the fin hasn't changed. We do have them in other colors. They will be available in red, which is really sharp. And we also have them in red, yellow, and navy are the new colors for this year. And the navy matches this, but the red, I wish I had one. It's a really fine looking red. I think you've got them up on the website. Yes, Jack?
The new colors are not up there yet. They were sent.
Oh. Okay, Jack just muted himself. So
about that. Moved the mouse too far. Yeah, they're not up on the website yet. They are, from what I understand, just arriving in the warehouse.
yes,
Ship out to the dive shops.
yes.
Photos
So
published.
it's trickling in. The new colors are trickling in the sizing. We are getting shipments all the time, but they're not consistent. And that's basically whenever the shipment shows up, that's what we get. So we're trying to get them out as quickly as possible to our dealers at this point. All these Slipstream fins, any color, any size, always comes with the spring strap with the nylon covering on the outside. We do have as an option, if you want them, we have them where it's a spring strap that has a pull on it to make it easier to get them on and off depending on the type of diving style that you like to work with. We also have, this is the Reefstream. Everything's stream with us. That's the new thing this year, stream. Smart Stream, Reefstream, this stream, that stream. So this is a plastic fin. It comes in gray and black, in medium, large, extra large, small, medium, large, and extra large. And we have them in pink. The pinks are only available in the small and the medium size. And we got yelled at instantly because we didn't make any in extra large. So that's all we have for you on those.
So another question I have is, what is your recommendation or a setup recommendation for example, a warmer water diver that wants to do some sort, it's borderline technical / recreational type diving?
Okay, well, you said a mouthful there. And that works depending on how involved. It's easy on the warm water side because we could go with something as simple as an IQ light. The IQ light will do the job for you. You can add a stainless steel plate to the inside, and then it will work with doubles. The only drawback is at this point, the rings are fixed, so you won't be able to add more rings to a unit to this. The final thing for you, it's the air cell. A traveling diver is going to go with a 27 or 32 pound air cell. When you're doing an IQ light with a 27-pound air cell and weight pockets, it's just about 6 pounds of weight without the plate on the inside. But now when you're diving, you want to go to a set of double 80s. Now you need something along the lines of a Deep Ocean 2.0. So if you're going to want to buy one wing to do as much as possible, you can go with this harness, with the weight pockets, and a Deep Ocean 2.0. That'll work with singles and doubles. And that'll get you probably through 90% of your diving on what you want to do, even if you were wearing stage bottles.
Are some of the colors available in the mass, the new colors?
Well, the new colors aren't in yet, but yes, the newer colors are coming in. We're just waiting for the shipments. So we have colors to match the fins.
Going back to something regarding the bolt snap or the double ender that you're using for the reel. Can you explain how the OMS bolt snaps or double enders are different than other ones on the market?
Well, I don't have another company's with me, but I have these, and here's the difference. The length of this gate, this pull over here, makes it easier for you to get your thumb along the side in order to get a good grip on it. We actually call them the big grip clips. We have them in the double enders. We also have the standard, what we call the gate clip, also has the same extension. These are available in 3 sizes, and the gate clips are available in, these are available in 3. The gate clips are available in 4 sizes.
Just as a side note, for people who deal with these spools and cave line and stuff like that, these double enders or bolt snaps with that big thumb grip, they are also designed so they don't catch the line behind the thumb pullback area. So they're less of an entanglement hazard.
So I happen to have, so we can compare one to the other, the standard one and the length of what goes on with ours.
Okay.
Next question.
SS springs. You don't happen to have the spring hook or spring heel with the loop?
No, this is my house.
The tri-fit.
Not the factory.
Yeah, so the alternate spring strap that Pete was talking about, it's actually the one that I modified or put on my fins. Has a nice rubber loop on the end for grabbing, and also I feel it offers a little bit better cushion on the back of my foot. So Pete, in your area, can you go over your local dive area that you are covering, or your general?
Well, I'm a Northeast guy. I basically for OMS I cover everything. I'm the sales manager. For DUI, my immediate area is from Maine down to North Carolina. It's only like most of the Eastern Seaboard. Okay, but answer questions from anybody because I get them all the time. Somebody's bothering me now too, but that's okay. All right. The other thing that you may not be aware of, we have this particular seminar goes on every Thursday. But what I'm also doing for dive clubs, not just talking about gear, but I have a variety of presentations that are available if you email me. I work with a lot of clubs. I've been doing presentations for public safety teams since March 27th. I've already done 19 presentations that we have booked. So all it is an email, set it up with your club, because the big thing about DUI is all about not just dive gear. We're about education. We're about safety. We work with a lot of programs in order to get people diving, give them the information. Jack's an active diver. I'm an active diver. I've been an instructor since '79. So we like to share this information with everybody. And it's simply an email or a phone call. We could set it up and we do it on Zoom. So feel free, if you want to contact me, we could set something up for your club or for your shop. And you don't even have to buy me dinner because I'm not going to show up.
So that's what we have this week. Thanks, Pete. All these videos are being saved and posted on our YouTube channel. You can find the link from the divedui.com website, or you can go to the YouTube channel and also watch them at your leisure. So thanks for coming out this week, everyone. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, folks. Thanks for your time. Be safe.